Hello folks. Over on the wire, Bound Inertia asked me how I did the chains on the pedestrian legs of one of my Spores Vanaki, Hasward. As you can see them here, hopefully the camera's focusing on them. It's autofocus, it'll randomly blur every now and again, sorry about that. It's all suspended high above me, so I'll keep leaning in while I'm doing the sculpt, and I'll probably cover it up, sorry in advance. Anyway, it's pretty simple, it's only a few steps. I'm going to stick some chains on the side of this bike. So, first off, roll out a little sausage of green stuff and squish it down onto a base or similar. I like a base because it tends to hold onto it, but I bet because I've said that it won't. Right, once you've got that, basically you're going to pinch in at regular intervals. You can do it with forceps or tweezers or whatever. I don't have any, so I'm just going to do it with an old-fashioned sculpting tool. Nothing too fancy here. So first off, and the tops of the chain will not end up looking great. Don't worry about them for now because that's going to have to be resculpted when you attach to the model anyway. So I tend to just let them trail off at the top. Kind of like one of my conversations. Doing one side now, I'm going to do matching indentations in a moment. And also I can't see the screen on the camera, so every now and again I'm going to pause, have a look, see whether I'm doing this in a way so you can actually see what I'm doing, because otherwise what's the point? Don't worry about sticking things to the base, like the extra putty here, because you can always trim it off later when it's all cured and nice. Obviously try to get them to align, I'm sure you'll manage it better than I am, but no, it's just the basic principles of it. I learned how to do this online a little while ago for a personal project, and for that I did much smaller chains. I'll tell you about that in a second. Let's see if the camera could see that. Yep, as you can see, little things along there, no problem. So either step 1 is rolling it out and this is step 2 or whatever. Anyway, step 3, we're going to poke in little holes in each of them. Doesn't need to go all the way through, or don't need to go all the way through depending how you conjugate the sentence. But this is, well, it should be fairly obvious what it's for. It's for the holes in the links. Now, what kind of holes you make depends. Well, it'll depend what kind of chain you're looking to make. I'm making a kind of clunky angular chain this time, but it's perfectly possible to make rounded links as well. I've done it before. See? Yeah, I think you can see. Hopefully it's focused. So yeah, nothing fancy there. I'll probably enlarge them a bit in a minute. Okay, next up, grab yourself a sharp knife or similar, and we're going to be putting cuts to create interlinks, basically not all the way through the putty but indenting fairly heavily in pairs to create, well, I'll just do one. I can't actually talk about it very well. I'm going to lean in so I can do it right. I'll show you. Now I'll do the rest in a moment. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I mean here. If not, it'll become obvious in a minute. And they don't need to be perfect because we're going to enhance them in a minute. Well, I'm going to enhance them. I say we because, royal we, but royal we, that sounds dirty. Sorry, I am actually a child in that respect. Ridiculous sense of humour. Okay, hopefully you can see what I was talking about here. Little slits all the way along. They're not perfect, as I said. Don't worry about it. We're going to enhance it in a second. Clank, clank, because I fiddle with my tools and trying to get the right one. Next, indentation beneath each of these interlinks we've created, just to give it a bit more definition. Let's lead in and do one. I'll be out of your way in a second. Sorry about this. Just up here. Can you see what I'm talking about? Just make it a bit nicer. Let's see. Okay, hopefully I'm not covering it up too much. My hand maybe. Sculpting for show is surprisingly difficult. I've never done it before. Can you guess what it is yet? Hopefully I'm not showing my age when making that reference. Just pausing here because I was concerned I was leading in too far. Now the links at the bottom of the arc are never going to behave properly. If you figure out a way of making them behave better, please let me know. The bane of... well, they're not really the bane. That gives them far too much credit. They're a minor irritation of daily life. I mean, they're not daily. Ugh. Right, let me have a quick look, see. Yeah, it's starting to look a bit Necron-y here at the moment, don't worry. Basically, that's the basics of it. Then I'm going to have a quick poke at it, see if I can get it sorted. Like, I made the holes initially too small because last time I did them too big and they got in the way. Now I'm going to create them a bit bigger and push back on these little bits, on the interlinks, to give them a bit more definition. It shouldn't take very long, it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm just essentially widening the hole a bit. In doing that, it tends to make it look a bit better. Apologise if I'm leaning in. Just going to quick look at it myself, see how this is looking. So I'm sculpting at an angle so you can see, I can't actually see very well. Which of course enhances my sculpting greatly. Doing my best to hold it in a way so you might actually be able to see even when I'm working on it like this. If not, just skip forward in the video. I'm going to do this in real time, you don't. Amazing what we can do these days. And when you're doing this, you're going to find that some of your interlinks aren't perfect, they're not deep enough, that sort of thing. And no worries, you can sort it out at this stage. I mean, the main 4 or 5 steps, or whatever it is, I can never keep count of that. So I'm always thinking about sculpting, not counting. Anyway, the main steps of it are just the basics. Once you've done that, it becomes kind of obvious what you need to do to fix it up. Well, it'll become obvious to you. I'm just going and, do a bit of work randomly and hoping for the best. And I repeat the steps every now and again, like I'm re-pinching. Let me see what the camera can see. Yeah, you can actually see. I'm like re-pinching these a bit, like I did earlier, because now I can kind of see where it's supposed to go, whereas before I was just kind of working blind, figuratively and literally. And I think these links are a bit too wide, so I'm just going to squish them down, like so. I mean, as I'm doing it on a flat surface, I can just take a sharp knife to this later and just trim it off. No worries at all. As I may have said, this method basically scales to whatever you need. I use it to do chains for Necromunda human figures, which are significantly smaller. I think I've actually got one to hand. Hold on. I use them to do the chains there. Let's see whether the camera can see that. I think there's photos on the blog, but you get the idea. So it does scale. And there you go. It's going to attach on there. Let's see whether we're getting this in focus. I'm also going to put it down just in case we're not. And there you go, quick and dirty chains. Thanks for watching.